Okay. Hi. So now we are in the last part of the session, and this is the fourth part of the entire series. Now we are going to look in signature analysis. I'm going to speak about the underscore. What does it actually mention? What does it actually signify? Then I'm going to speak about encircling to your signature or half the part of it. Then I'm also going to speak about flourishes or few people who keep doodling or drawing some designs next to their signatures. So all these things I'm going to take into consideration, and I'm sharing the screen. Let's see how the session goes on. Let me know once the screen is visible to all of you. Okay. So we had completed till here, that is single dot placed after a sign, which means that the person is way too particular about certain things in their lives. Now comes the accessories part. So when I'm speaking about accessories, I'm going to speak about the underscore, the overscore, encircling for the signature, either full or partial, and many other aspects. Along with that, I'm going to speak about something called as flourishes, which means doing some kind of design or mandala or drawing along with your signature or next to your signature. So all these aspects are going to be covered. Also, I am lastly going to speak about what exactly an ideal signature should look like. Yeah. Now, so the first accessory I'm going to speak about is an underscore. An underscore is a line drawn below the signature. This indicates the person's confidence, and two underscores under the signature indicates that the person is confident and assertive as well. A convex underscore indicates the person has a desire for self-improvement. A concave underscore indicates a tendency to give excuses of failure. So there could be any excuse or any small failure also. Like say, for example, uh, you score less marks in a particular test. Oh no, the ma'am is partial and she gives good marks only to her favorite students. That becomes an excuse for your failure. So it's of no use. Again, uh, a straight underscore is something which is a positive trait, but a convex I can still say to an extent, maybe 50 to 60% is a positive trait, but concave underscore is a complete negative trait, 100% negative trait. So if anybody is trying to do this particular part, please avoid it. It's of no use to anybody. Now, a varying underscore, it means the person is inconsistent and in anything that they are doing. So that becomes uh, a varying underscore, whereas an underscore with many diminishing lines indicates desire for attention as well as waste of time. Quite obvious, you are doing one line, then two lines, three lines, four lines, and they are diminishing. Obviously, it's a complete waste of time. Also, these people eventually lose their confidence in most cases. Um, lose their confidence over a period of time, and in most cases this is an exaggeration of confidence. Now, retraced or returning underscore, so there are many people who will do this kind of thing, so going back and come forward. So these people are the ones who will change their decision at the very last minute. Now it could be a last minute decision, as in it could be something, a very big decision, like um, so maybe the Indian government decides to do a demonetization, but all of a sudden everything is being discussed and everything is being implemented. Now the final yes is remaining, and Indian government says that no, we are not doing any monetization. So this becomes last minute change. Okay. Also, this is not good because the person is going back and forth. Even if it is once, it becomes difficult for the other person who's sitting in front of you to decide what exactly the person is. So the writer, if he has this retraced kind of, he or she has this retraced kind of underscore, uh, the other people connected to this writer, it becomes difficult for them to understand what exactly is the person trying to do. You know, sometimes it is yes, sometimes it is no. Sometimes almost 99% work is done, and that one for that 1%, people say, it's no, I I'm not interested or I don't want. This becomes so. Uh, so I'll let you know an incident. I was working in an NGO, and somehow, for some reason, we had to shut down our NGO on a very last minute basis. And before we could shut down, we tried to collaborate with one of the CSR activities, big CSR activity of a big company, MNC of India, not MNC, a big Indian company. We tried to collaborate with them, and everything was finalized. Everything, meaning right from how many employees will they be recruiting, and what would be the salary, and everything was decided. And on the day when the final papers were supposed to sign, their CEO said that no, this is not going to work out, and everything went for a trash. We had to shut down the NGO on an immediate basis then and there. It was very difficult for us, but we had to do that. So the person who last minute said no, this is not going to happen, might have this kind of retraced underscore. Let's move to the next one, oscillating underscore. Now, this person is not determined and always keeps changing their decisions. They lack confidence in decision making. So, again, this obviously is an negative trait. It's of no use again. And see, imagine a person who starts off with 100% confidence and by the end of the day remains with not even 1% of confidence. Obviously, people are going to think about you. How will it work out, right? So, this again is a negative trait, and lack of confidence, uh, to a certain extent, at the end of the day, I can still understand. But if the same behavior is seen throughout for a year or 6 months or 2 years, then uh, uh, it becomes difficult for the other people surrounded uh, to the writer, along or surrounded around the writer. Overscore. So, like people do an underscore, there are people who do overscore as well. Now, um, this is a kind of encircling only, but the degree of what the encircle happens, उससे थोड़ा सा less becomes the overscore. Again, it is something which we can say that the person wants to hide a few things from the people. I mean, they do not wish to show anything to the world. They want everything private. They want everything to be low key affair. Now, encircling is drawing a circle around your signature. Now, this indicates that the person wants to keep distance from other people. They create communication and relationship boundaries. So this is something which I used to do. I had a signature where I used to encircle. If I have, I might be able to show it to you. Yeah. So see over here, as you can see, this is my name and I've encircled it. So again, over here, I am retracing also, going back and then going forward, right? So this is something which I was doing quite unconsciously. I had never thought that, my signature should look like this. One fine day, maybe in 12th, probably when I had to sign some uh, documents where like probably the college I card or something for 12th standard mark sheet and everything. I had to sign, so I just randomly put up my name and did the signature. So later, when I started learning graphology, and when the actual time came for signature analysis, that is the time when I realized that, okay, this is not a good sign, and I need to change my signature. Post that, I changed. So I changed my signature somewhere in 2010 or 11, maybe. Uh, def- it's definitely not before that. It's till in somewhere in 2010 or 11 only I changed my signature. And since then, I have been signing the signature till date, and I have seen drastic changes in my life. Obviously, it took time. It over a period of time, I could see those changes. Now I feel that those are drastic. At that time, I just believed in myself and I believed my sir of what he said, and I made those changes accordingly in my signature. Right. So again, and I didn't realize when I was signing like this that how many communication and relationship boundaries I was creating around me. It is almost like you are closing yourself and not opening up for things to happen or magic or miracles to happen in your life. So obviously this is a complete negative trait, and this person also is quite insecure in knowing or doing things, uh, uh, and they do not wish to disclose this particular thing to the public. They have difficulty in expressing themselves. I did have that, and they are also afraid to face resistance. To an extent, I still have that a little bit. So, if anybody is doing any kind of encircling to your signature, be it partial or be it full, please stop doing it. It's a complete negative trait. Now, encircling around the entire signature indicates complete hiding, as of what I was doing, right? Encircling only the self initial indicates insecurity. They're afraid to exposing themselves to the public. So these are the people who would not uh, like to perform or are not comfortable uh, um, performing in front of the public. So they'll be very good singers, but when it comes when the time comes to perform in front of a crowd, maybe even a 20 people crowd, they still they are not able to do that. They are not comfortable at all with that particular thought. So then we move to next one, encircling around the profession. This indicates that the person is engaged in activities which do not suit their profession. Okay. So activities could be anything. Say, for example, the person is working in an army and still, uh, consumes drugs. So that obviously becomes a negative trait. Or an MBBS doctor mm, uh, is recommends many times Ayurvedic medicines, right? So these are two contrast things. It should not, they should not, they are not supposed to go hand in hand. Or maybe the person is is working dual. So a person is working in a corporate job and doing freelance activities as well, right? So that becomes, again, the person is encircling the profession. Again, not good, right? Or probably even you can say that a doctor himself is a chain smoker. not acceptable, right? Encircling around the father or the mother uh, initial indicates the related person appears to cover, especially when the writer is around. The relations will not be good. Now, see, uh, this also means that the person is kind of not having uh, free one-to-one communication with that particular person. uh, Maybe the person is having inhibitions to have communication with the father or the mother, or maybe sometimes both of them, right? So they try to cover. So over here, what it means that the indicates the related person appears to cover themselves when the writer is around. So probably because of the writer's behavior, the parent is trying to cover themselves in many aspects. It could be communication, it could be financial matters, it could also be one-on-one talk, which does not happen much. That's because the writer behaves in such a way that the people have to, uh, they are like, okay, it's better we not speak about this in front of the child or in front of the writer, right? So eventually, what will happen is the relations will hamper the writer's relationship with the parent, or the either with both the parents or with one of the parents, whichever is encircled. It shows that the relationship with that particular parent will not be good over a period of time, because uh, eventually the communication which is supposed to be going parallel automatically comes to a place where there is no communication, and then blank, toot gaya, right? So this again is obviously a negative trait. Okay. Um, Other than this, what I was trying to let you know is what is it? Hmm, yeah. Now I'm repeating myself in this particular part as well. Not all of these signatures that you are seeing, you will be able to see it on a daily basis. And it is not necessary that all the signatures that you are ma- probably there could be some signatures which are not mentioned over here, but you would be able to see those. So if the second scenario appears or occurs to you, please give it a proper thought before going ahead and giving the analysis to the client. Another thing, if you are stuck anywhere, please contact Psycho Shiksha or me, and I will get this sorted for you. Uh, Many times it might also happen that this is something which is hypothetical, but not necessary that every time it would be hypothetical, right? Again, at times, when you feel that you are at crossroads, or you are not able to um, give the correct analysis, stop yourself for 5 to 10 minutes, gather your thoughts again properly, and then give the analysis, right? Um, let's move forward. Now, before I move forward, I would like to like to let you know or tell you, uh, there are many people who, do some kind of drawings, either doodling or doing a heart, or drawing some kind of exclamation mark, or after the sign, before the sign, or uh, instead of dot, putting a heart on I, or something of that sort, right? So this, all those things come under the category of flourishes. So what does it actually mean? Now, flourishes is something, it can be a simple curve or a complicated series of loops and frills. These are simple lines and curls that may or may not be attached to an initial, and the zone and in the zone may be highlighted as well, to be highlighted. These are neutral traits, but it does indicate waste of time. Obviously, on a bank check, if you're going to write your surname with uh, doing some kind of flourishes, obviously the bank is not going to accept the check, right? So see to it that if anybody of you are doing, okay, for a casual signature, like maybe, if you have received a courier and if you're supposed to sign, then maybe you can do this kind of flourishing thing. But when the passport is going to reach to your place, the postman is standing outside and you sign with this kind of flourishes thing, obviously the person is not going to give you the passport. The postman will not give you the passport. They'll take it back with them, right? Because you have to match the signatures as well and many other things. Um, Obviously, if you are going to do this on the regular muster in your school or maybe in the hospital where you are supposed to sign your daily signatures, this doesn't work out. So even if uh, it is a neutral trait, I personally feel it's a complete waste of time. Imagine a person signing a blank check with these kind of designs on all corners of the check. Do you think the bank is going to accept these kind of checks? So avoid doing this kind of things. It's of no use. It's a complete waste. Okay. A complicated flourish indicates with many loops and ink blots, which indicates perversion. Now, flourishes in the upper zone indicates highly intellectual people, whereas in lower zone it indicates materialistic nature and strong libido. Now, when I'm speaking about this first part, the complicated flourish with loops and ink blots, it indicates perversion. Now, what do you mean by doing this? Is again, this is a negative trait, and this also means that you are uh, having a lot of anger within you, which is hidden, and somehow there is no chance to vent out that anger. And whenever you find this, whenever you are supposed to sign, you find that way to uh, do these kind of dots or loops, ink blots. Now, ink blots is something which usually happens when there is a rough paper and a gel pen. When there is a rough paper and a ball pen, you will not come across ink blots, right? So there's a difference. Now, say for example, see, this paper is something which is not that Xerox paper, A4 size Xerox paper. This is a normal low quality paper. Now, with low quality paper, can you see this is an ink blot which is happening over here? So this becomes an ink blot. Whereas when I'm signing over here or the content written above, this is a normal regular A4 size Xerox paper. Over here, you cannot see any ink blots, right? Now, imagine a person who has this kind of ink blots on the entire signature. Imagine the amount of pent up emotions or suppressed anger which cannot be vented out. It's a complete negative trait. So with this kind of people who come to you, you need to handle these kind of clients or situations very, very, very tactfully, very manipulatively. In any case, the person should not feel offended or should not be felt that, the client is a pervert. You need to use such words where uh, the person should understand his or her mistake without the person being offended. It's a very thin line that we need to follow, but we have to do that. And imagine this amount of anger if not channelized at the right time, at the right place, what will happen? Some grave mistakes could happen, which we can't even think in our wildest dreams, kind of things. So be careful with such kind of people. Extensions. Again, a very important part. This again also indicates waste of time. Extension is something which you have a starting stroke and an ending stroke. So as you can see it over here in the picture, yeah, here's a starting stroke and an ending stroke as well, right? So unnecessarily, it is about dragging a particular topic unnecessarily and stretching an argument for no reason, right? This also mean it's about pulling or elongating a line from any letter to form an underscore or an upper score. Again, it's a negative trait. When the initial is extended to form a covering stroke, it indicates the person is responsible for covering activities. Now, covering activities could be positive as well as negative. See, if you're doing some kind of charity and you do not take your camera, it's understood. But when you are doing some wrong activities and carrying the camera, obviously you are, I mean, you are going to get caught at some point of time, right? So its extensions is not a good thing. It can also mean the person is very protective and dominating, as of what we had seen in the initials, which are written one above the other. It also means the same thing. Okay. When the last alphabet of the signature is extended further in the middle zone, it indicates the tendency to nag. Now, these people literally do not know where to stop and when to stop. They are prone to go on and on without stopping. So, say for example, I see something on Amazon, on shopping website, and I just keep on adding it in the cart, and I buy 10,000. I just swipe my card for 10,000 rupees. So that's something where I do not know where to stop. You know, there could be some things or some contents which I don't even need, some books which I don't even need, but I still order because I found there's a sale going on, so I buy it, right? So this makes no sense. And again, this also is a negative trait. So the more simple the signature, the better for anybody and everybody, right? The more complicated or the more scratching and unnecessary flourishes and everything, the more irritating for the other people to understand, right? Now imagine a person coming to you with all those flourishes in your in their signature and tells you to analyze that. Isn't it irritating for you? For you, it would be better that you have a clear signature in front of you and then you analyze it. That's it, right? The more flourishes, the more illegible signature, it is irritating for anybody and everybody to do that particular part, right? So avoid doing that. Yeah. Club strokes, one of the most important aspect in signature analysis as well as in graphology, that is handwriting analysis. So now imagine yourselves where your school teacher used to give a tick mark for a correct answer, right? The way she used to give the tick mark, you remember the tick mark, right? Now the tick mark, I'll, yeah, here it is. 1 minute. Let me do it with the red pen. Easier for everyone to understand. Are you able to see this? Tick marks. Now see, the point where I started has a darker part, whereas when it ends, the ink is fading, right? Everywhere over here, right? So the place where the ink is fading, that is a club stroke. It's just like going off, right? So these kind of people are uh, way too sarcastic and very rude to the other people. So a person like me who is sensitive does get offended when somebody speaks to me very rudely and very sarcastically. Like, I do not understand a particular part, and then people say, where is your brain? Right? Or my manager says to me, um, how come you do not understand anything in one go? You know, or why don't you check your brains? Are they completely empty? There is nothing over here. When some people say such kind of comments, or make such statements, it's very frustrating, it's very disheartening for the person who is listening to those, right, to those comments. So I might end up having a club stroke. It's about that bottled anger and frustration. I mean, it's a suppressed anger and frustration which can went out anytime. One triggering point and then boom, right? So if I am having uh, a club stroke, means that my anger is not vented out, that frustration is not vented out at the right time, at the right place, or it is not channelized in a proper way where I can, uh, you know, go completely, calm down completely, right? Now, these people are the ones who are very harsh and sarcastic towards themselves as well as the others. Now, how will you identify a club stroke in any signature? So, the very first one would be this one. This is a club stroke, right? Or so the alphabet T which is written over here, this becomes a club stroke. The crossbar above, that is a club stroke. The I, the small I with a dot is supposed to be written, it's a club stroke. Instead of dot, they have put up a line. So that becomes a club stroke. Or say, for example, G, Q, or which is the other one? Y, J, C, G, H, I, J, K, K also a little bit. S, T, Z. Yeah. So see, over here you can see these alphabets over here. All these are capable of having a club stroke. So Z, J, K, Q, G, Y. These are all club strokes. So these alphabets, while you are analyzing the content, or maybe in the signature as well, not maybe, in the signature too, you might find such kind of club strokes. Again, club stroke also is a negative trait. I imagine I as a teacher, or I as a professor, I am having this club stroke. Imagine the amount of uh, bad feelings or the amount of bad emotions that I'm passing towards to my students or my kids, imagine the amount of hurt feelings that the students will be having if I start uh, passing on harsh comments and being rude towards others. Being rude and harsh towards others as well as towards oneself, both of them are of no good to anybody. Being a critic is different, but being harsh and rude towards themselves and others is again some kind of harmful activity that you're doing, right? You're not harming the person in front of you in a physical way. You are damaging their mental ability, you know, and that is not good at all. So, I mean, this could be some kind of philosophical class for the next 2-3 minutes or so. But how it actually works is why I keep saying that any human being on this earth, irrespective of the gender, either needs to learn an art form or either needs to know a sports form, be it any sports form, be it cricket, football, basketball, tennis, lawn tennis, or any sport for that matter, scuba diving or swimming or any physical sport, either a sport form or an art form. So both these are not correlated, but are not even separate from each other, you know. So how does this work? It's like more of a thing like uh, your whenever you are performing any art form or performing any sports activity, your concentration is completely on the breathing which happens, right? You're concentrating and focusing completely on the game, completely on the art form that you're practicing. With this, your breathing also is in sync with that particular activity that you're doing, be it painting, be it dancing, or be it performing any sports activity, right? We are completely focused. Now, when we are completely focused, what happens is while breathing, also, we breathe in the good energy and we breathe out exhale out the negative part, which is the pen piled up in our within ourselves, right? So when we are doing this, automatically things or automatically our negative energy is went out in a particular way. So when you practice any art form, when you practice any physical or sports activity, obviously that those negative thoughts or those negative feelings towards the others are reduced down completely. If I'm not saying completely, at least to around 80% or 85%, your negative feelings go completely down. So that's the reason why I say that anybody, every human being on this earth either should practice an art form or a physical activity. It makes a lot of difference towards your lookout towards your life as well and others' life as well. And automatically it makes you a bit more human than the others who are not doing this kind of part. And it does help. Uh, for years, I have been practicing Bharatnatyam or Mandala or maybe teaching my kids, uh, be it graphology or storytelling or anything that I've been doing. At the end of the day, in these many years, I obviously had my own downs, ups and downs. And in my down phase, I never felt or I never had those suicidal thoughts in my mind where I said that, no, yeah, everything is finished. I am good for nothing. Or, I better do a suicide instead of going through this painful journey or anything. I have never, touch wood, in my entire life ever had these kind of, these kind of thoughts. Situations were completely diverse, completely contrast of what uh, my life was taking me through, right? There were situations where I thought this would happen, but exactly opposite happened, right? And for the for a moment, for a few weeks, probably I feel completely lost. But then still, till date, touch wood, I never had that those kind of suicidal thoughts where I felt like, um, um, I better end up, I better end my life. There's no, it's not, my life is not worth living this particular life. These thoughts have never came up to me. Also, when I was pursuing my master's in psychology in 2011-12, we are supposed to complete a thesis, and my thesis was about having if speaking about mental health for dancers and non-dancers. So any dancer for that matter, or any performing art, whichever art you're performing, be it Kathak, be it any classical dance form, or be it Western or jazz or hip hop or any performing art, dancers' mental health is way far more better compared to the people who are not dancing. Now, I do not wish to compartmentalize that these are bad and these are good. I am just trying to let you know that uh, any art form, or going forward any sports activity, helps you to reduce your stress, focus better on your work, and it also helps you to look towards life in a much more better way. Even in your uh, down phase of your life, you will still find some good things happening within you and the others. That is how it is. Okay. So the reason why I'm telling you this is that if you find any person who is having any kind of club stroke, please mention them, or please insist them or convince them to learn any kind of dance form or any kind of performing art or art form or physical sports activity, right? That will help them to be a better human being. I thank you in advance for this. So, okay, now let's move to the graphics part. Okay, wow. Uh, Drawings basically indicate a lot of free time the person is having, right? It also indicates the objects with signatory that has built up a close relationship with the writer. And somehow the writer derives some kind of confidence or inspiration from these kind of graphics. Again, these things I am not saying are completely negative or completely positive. Probably these could be neutral traits. But obviously, again, when it comes to signing legal documents, we are not allowed to do these kinds of things. So these probably could be said as, doing these things on an autograph, as a part of autograph, right? So over here in this second one, the person has signed, given the autograph with a piano and candles marked up over here, put up over here. So the probably the writer is a pianist and uh, derives a lot of um, confidence the from their profession. So that could be one thing. Another thing over here, uh, now this is something very weird, and people have been, my students have been telling, ma'am, this is an AK-47. Ma'am, this looks like a fish. Ma'am, this looks like a man who has fallen down on one side, a dead human being or something of that sort, right? So basically what I meant to say is, again, this is a kind of different graphic which is of absolute no use when it comes to signing any legal document. Nobody's going to accept this kind of things. Nobody. No bank, no government officer, nowhere, nowhere. So please avoid doing such kind of things. Yeah. For an autograph, obviously, for an autograph also, I personally feel this is a complete waste of time. Because imagine doing these kind of things for one autograph person. I mean, there is a huge line. You're going to sign probably hundreds of autographs in on that night, or for that entire day, and there are other 50 people already standing in the queue behind, and you are taking almost 5-10 minutes for this one particular autograph. It is irritating for you, as well as the people who are standing behind, as well as the person for whom you're signing the autograph. Makes no sense, right? So negative trait again. Not negative, but neutral trait. And as I've already mentioned over here, indicates freedom of time. Okay. before I move forward, let me just take a quick break. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I'm back, sharing my screen again. Yeah. Then comes a multi-level signature. A multi-level signature is half your name is above and half your signature is below. So in two levels. So again, uh, here obviously the second part is on the second line. The first thing to note is that changing lines is similar to putting a large space in between separated parts, which means A, B on one line and sing on the other line. So this part or this space remains blank, which means you are trying to create a rift unnecessarily, right? The second part is being pushed in the lower zone indicates a mind of materialistic view of life. There is an insatiable tendency to accumulate more and more. Multi-level sign is strongly a negative trait. This becomes a multi-level signature. Then let's move to the bilingual signatures. Again, there are many people who sign halfway in their mother tongue and half in English or any two languages, basically. So over here, the person, so over here, it is about there's a drastic change in environment most likely to cause such kind of formation or contrasting uh, environments in the person's life or the professional life. So they are always in that conflict of having that real identity. Where am I exactly standing in this world, right? either this or this. So, say for example, a person who is from a slum area, uh, but is working in a corporate as a manager. So it's so for a person like him or her, it becomes difficult to where exactly the person stands. Is it here in the slum area that's his real identity, or is it this where he or she works in the corporate area, corporate sector, where is this my identity? Where exactly? So the person is not able to uh, bring a balance in between any of the identities that he or she carries. Self-scratching, a complete negative trait. So the person writes the name and then scratches it, like what I'm doing in my signature over here that I've told you. This is I'm encircling, but I'm also scratching myself. So physically harming your own self or the others. A person who scratches, who signs and scratches over is called as self-scratching. This indicates severe punishment or criticism. These people may be underconfident and they tend to blame themselves for everything that is happening. Mostly everything includes negative aspects. Say, for example, uh, uh, you score low marks, you were at a fault. You fell down from a bike because somebody else hit you, or because of somebody else's mistake, but you'll take that blame saying, no, no, it was my mistake. मैं ही जोर से चला रही थी. I could not put my brake properly, or on my two-wheeler. Or it could also mean that mm, maybe body shaming, which keeps happening often with many people, like अरे ये तो बहुत ही मोटा है, अरे ये तो बहुत ही मोटी है, or the person is way too skinny, so people, it's very easy for people to say or to body shame. But for the person who is a fat person or a person who is very skinny, they'll always feel that burn, and they might end up doing some wrong things for their health. Say, for example, either a skinny person will overeat always, or a, a fat person or a healthy person, hefty person will has, I mean, has a big appetite, but whenever he or she is in front of the crowd, they'll avoid eating food itself. They'll say, no, no, मुझे भूख नहीं है, या फिर no, no, I'm not much interested, मैं भी खाना खा के आया हूँ. The actual thing is, in reality, the person is way too hungry, but they'll starve themselves, right? So eventually, it so happens that when you're starving yourself over a period of time, uh, there are another health issues that come up, right? So they tend to blame themselves for every negative thing that is happening, right? So this again is a negative trait. Self-scratching is of no use at all. Multiple signs. Now, this is something which I would not recommend on a daily basis, especially when it comes to legal documents. Now, having more than one signature and using different signs for different transactions indicates that having many masks and using different one every time. They carry different images of themselves at different places. Now, what happens is when you are doing such kind of thing, no, uh, say for example, you have like these 3, 4 signatures of yours, okay? You your PAN card has one different signature, your Aadhaar card has one different signature, your driving license has one different signature, your passport has one different signature, right? So these 4 signatures are there on legal document. Tomorrow, it might happen that the same government who has given you these documents would put up an objection saying that no, none of the documents are legal because you have signed 4 different signatures on 4 different uh, different documents, legal documents, right? Say, for example, your signature on the regular muster signature on your daily basis, where you're supposed to sign the muster if you're working in a school or you're a peon or something in. or a clerk in an office. There, because the space is small, you put up just one, just the initials, and instead of writing the entire surname or the entire name, you just sign the initials. That's okay. That's understood, right? For the courier, for a person who delivers a courier to you, over there, if you have, uh, you know, put up signature just for the time being, that's also understood. But signing on four different legal documents at four different places in different ways, that is something which is not acceptable, right? Or say, for example, for a teacher like me, I am doing an invigilation duty, and for all 50 people, I sign as S Jagaukar. It becomes difficult, it's time consuming. So I write just SSJ, understanding. But the same thing, I cannot do it when I'm accepting an salary slip from the school for the work that I've been doing. Over there, I have to put up my entire signature, my complete full signature, official signature, right? So that is what is makes a difference. Okay, change of signature. This indicates a strong subconscious thought to form a separate identity, right? I mean, now this is quite self-explanatory. There's no need for me to put up any explanation as such. Okay. With this, I complete my part for signature analysis. So the different parts that we need to look into. Now comes the very basic question, ma'am, with this so many intricacies or so many different small parts that we need to take care into. What exactly should an ideal signature be? So, an ideal signature should always have your initial, your father's initial, and your full surname. So if I am Sneha Sanjay Joshi, I would be signing SS Joshi. Or for somebody from a Bengali, the person should sign Saurav or S B Chatterjee, right? So that is how it's supposed to be. That's an ideal signature. Now, along with that, one particular thing that everybody must follow is having an accension of 45-degree angle. So the plane, you remember the airplane which goes on a runway and then takes off in the air, right? So this, while taking off, this is the 45-degree angle that I'm speaking about. If this is there, it will help everybody, right? I mean, that's 45-degree angle. That's another point that you need to remember. Along with that, if you can have one underscore without having self scratching, that makes more sense. And if there is just one dot after the signature, that's an ideal signature. Now, you might end up asking me, ma'am, how are we supposed to do that? How will we get to know 45-degree angle? Now, see, 45-degree angle is not something that you need to measure and do it. You can simply imagine the airplane and this particular part. That's 45-degree angle. The more you go up and up and up, it obviously goes 45 to 50, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, right? So that is not the way we are going to sign. So, and obviously, legible signature. Entire signature should be a legible signature. So let's look what actually it should look like. It is one with the own initial followed by the father's initial and full surname written clearly without any complications. The size of the signature is a little larger than the script and inclined 40 to 45 degrees upward. So this becomes an ideal signature. Okay. Now this actually looks like an ideal signature. If yeah. So say for example, if I am supposed to put up my signature as SS Agarwal, it should look like this, right? Now, if at all I put up, see the way I have done an underscore over here. I start from this point, but I stop in between because I am not going to scratch the G, and I again start from here and end it here, right? So if I scratch the G or the loop of the G, that becomes self-scratching, which again is a negative trait. So that is how it's supposed to be. This is called as an ideal signature, which which is clean, clear, without any complications, just one signature, right? With my initial, my father's initial, and my full surname. So this is a similar uh, mm, signature that I have been doing. My obviously, I'm not going to show my official signature over here since this is going to be on YouTube. So I would not prefer doing that. But this is how an ideal signature should look like. Okay. Now, putting up a dot or not putting up a dot is up to you. I personally have been using a dot after the signature. But yeah, that's and an underscore. That's it. So, as I've already spoken about, legible signature is way more better than an illegible one. So, try to make your signature as clean, clear, without any complications, and change it if uh, need requires or if you feel so. Okay. Yeah. With this, I have completed all the four parts of the signature analysis class. And if you have any doubts, please head to Psychoshiksha's website, and from there probably you will be redirected to me if you have any doubts. I have explained each and every scenario and each and every small aspect related to signature analysis. But still, if you feel that, ma'am, this is not sufficient or this is something which I am confused into, please head to Psychoshiksha website. They will give me, they can provide you my contact number if you want to reach out to me. Seriously, if you want to reach out to me. And other than that, if at all you feel like uh, there is something that you need to need to learn a little more about signatures, I have this book which I'm going to mention. um, I'm going to share my screen again in a minute. Wait. So I'm sharing my screen all over again. So as you can see, this is a book of what your signature says. This is a Kindle edition. Probably there is one with hard copy as well. And this is the book that I have been using by Mr. Milind Rajore and Kalpana Rajore. And if at all you feel that there you need to get more insights from the book, this is the book. Now, m- all of the topics that need to be covered have been covered over here. If at all still you feel that I need to still buy the book, you can go ahead and buy the book. But I'm sure you are not going to find anything else other than this, that what I've taught to you. Okay, with this, we end the session. Thank you so much. I hope you have liked the session. Please do like, share, and subscribe Psycho Shiksha's channel. Thank you so much. Have a good day.